getting past the wrong person.
Right.
Nobody catching it.
Oh, we talked about it too much. How can they not know?
Right. I think they absolutely do it on purpose, and because it brings attention to the brand, and some people will love that kind of attention.
Right.
And then they keep the diversity page separate, so they can just discard it when they want to.
Right.
I think it's on purpose.
Of course, it's on purpose because this has happened, and I'm on their main page right now, and it looks exactly the same as it always has.
Right.
I mean, look at it. It's just skinny white girls in fluorescent bikinis.
And now you get to say, that, okay, well, since they had the inclusion page, you're like, now they get to say,
put their black plus size model influencer who they reached out to, that BuzzFeed talked to. They could have added her on their main page, and they still have it. Yep. So what do they care?
Right, because now they get to sit there and go, well, we tried inclusion and they didn't want us, and so now they throw it back on the rest of us, and they're like, oh well, we tried. So I agree with you, Sam. We no longer give you passes.
Done. I have done.
This is one of the weirdest. I can't believe it has 2 million followers.
It is racist.
Right. Well, and even
say it,
and it's horrible. It's so horrible.
Racist, terrible.
Yeah, we're going on. We're all
Polly.
going on record right now. Polly is
racist.
Done.
So bad.
Oh, Polly. All right. Now for our final segment in today's episode, we're going to do, Does This Make Me Old? Does this make me old? Does it even make us old that we still read the New York Times? Is that even like how we start the conversation?
I think the answer to that, as always,
yes. It does make us old.
Oh, so, okay. The New York Times, they posted this article, and again, if I remember correctly, it was called Here's to the Women of Gen X, right,
yes.
Samantha?
Yes. So the New York Times publishes a twice-weekly newsletter on women, gender, and society called In Her Words. And earlier this month, it featured a collection of articles curated by a reporter named Maya Salman and some of her colleagues. And as she explained it, they came together to gripe about and celebrate the gloomy, goofy club of forgotten middle children that is the 65 million people who came of age in the 1980s and 90s in a project dedicated to Gen X.
Okay.
So then what followed was a collection of articles they had curated speaking to things that are of import to Gen X. Right. 90s feminist punk. Articles that labeled us slackers and cynical.
Right.
And so the question is, do we agree?
I am kind of over. I know that I count as a Gen X person, but I know that I am not a slacker. I am not down on myself. I am not that. So the fact that we are now fueling into this, we are self-fueling the mythos that we're a hot mess and less important. And so I think that it's now become in fashion to say all of the things about Gen X. And so now it's just continuing to pile on. It's like, and I'm over it.
The thing is we are slackers, but the reason that we're slackers is because we don't do things the way the boomers and the millennials do. It's not a slacker. It's not doing things. You're not going to show up at 8 a.m. or 7:30 a.m. and punch a clock and do that job. This is why millennials and boomers are talked about all the time and Gen X isn't.
Right.
We're not doing things the way that they do it and getting things done that way. So you're an off-gridder and you're a slacker that way.
But that's why when other Gen X people talk about Gen X from a negative perspective, that's where I'm going, okay, I'm not fueling that anymore. Because yes, we did come from a position where we watched all of our boomer parents work and we all raised ourselves because they were working.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think, and then we go, okay, and then the economy tanked, and then we went out on our own. So instead of championing the fact that we did a different path, we're going,
but the millennials went and did that same thing that the boomers are doing. Do you know what I mean?
I know.
So we're still not on that grid. It's not a slacker. It's just we don't do it the same way.
Right. I understand and I agree with you. But what I'm saying is back to Sam's point about this article that we spend so much time fueling the, or calling ourselves that.
We're just not in the dialogue. We're not calling it. The people who are active in that narrative are.
But the people who are writing these articles who are in our same Gen X club are saying it too.
Is she saying that?
Yeah.
That's how I interpreted it.
Didn't she herself say she actually is a millennial, but she just counts herself as as an Xer because she feels like she is.
I think she's right on the cusp.
She doesn't even count. She doesn't get it.
Yeah, and I don't know
she's
that she
some kind of millennial that wants to be Gen X, and then she just harshes
She's just
on
masking herself because
yeah,
they are harshing
she is
on
a
it.
millennial. I mean, that's why she's even writing this article. She kind of sucks.
Yeah.
I didn't take it to mean that she was saying these things. I think she was curating some articles that did. So,
but you
the articles
tell if she was clearly like in the middle of being a Gen Xer, she would have a different perspective.
Yeah,
she starts by being like, I'm a millennial, but my sister's in Gen X, so I identify with being Gen X. By the way, here's a bunch of observations that aren't very good.
Right. And I'm just tired
Fair
of going, it's okay. So I just feel like we are allowed to, because I know every woman in this room, all of us are Gen Xers. We work our ass off, you know?
Right.
And did a whole lot of things. And so whenever I see a rebuttal where it goes, here's all the things that we are doing, I want to continue to champion those rebuttals.
Yeah.
And I think we're getting some of them, but not as many. Probably because we're too busy to sit there and go and do it.
We're
working 2 jobs.
I wholeheartedly agree with like the whole concept of Generation X implies that everyone has lost hope. That the concept of it is true. Like, Generation X is the whole idea that there's an X. That's what it was when it was coined, was that you were the lost generation. You were the missing generation. You're that undefinable generation. That's what it stands for. And we are sort of that X, that missing piece, that undefinable.
Kind of
Well,
shadowed.
I've decided to change it to we are that X, as in that X factor, as in actually getting things accomplished.
Yeah, but
and
that's,
reclaim it as much as I'm going to. I'm not going to
that's
continue
counter.
to go. It doesn't matter. Right, I'm going to counter it because
you're allowed.
I'm super over them going, okay, as a Gen Xer, that means that you're going to get washed away. I'm just over it, you know?
Yeah, but most Gen Xers don't care enough to counter the narrative.
Well, I am going to, if I have to, I don't care how much coffee I need to put in that. If I have to rally the rest of the Gen X troop, I think that they can. I think, presuming that they won't, I don't think that, I refuse to give up on them and say that they won't.
Is it
I think I can rally
not
them.
to?
No, I think I think my answer to that is no. I think my answer is that you need to champion and own where you are and what you've accomplished, and to go, this generation is important as well.
I don't think it ever will, because you're always going to be bookmarked between the traits, the characteristic traits of the generations of the boomer and the millennial. And no matter how many, Leonardo DiCaprio is a Gen Xer, but nobody's ever going to identify that that's what he is.
That's true. That's not the way they lead into talking about him.
You're never going to have that, because you're always going to be identified by the other two. So
we're never going to have it if we keep saying you're never going to have it. If
well,
we just start doing it and just start trying
to, I don't care enough because I'm Gen X,
and I do care enough, and I'm like, okay, I'm
like, let them do
TV.
it, because I find those other traits inherently irritating.
I'm like, I would rather keep championing it, and I want more T-shirts that say I'm Gen X and I'm proud.
Well,
I
like it too. I would rather have I'm Gen X and I'm over it.
Nah.
So let me ask you guys: if we were not growing up and now cynical or slackers, and I agree that we weren't. I wasn't. And
no,
I hear you guys saying that you weren't.
What were we? I think we are slackers.
I don't.
I mean, I don't think we're slackers that we don't work, but we're slackers by definition of not playing by the rules.
Okay.
I don't think we play by the rules, and I'm proud of that. And if they want to call it slacker, then I'm a slacker.
Okay. And then what about the
I don't give a lot of shits about a lot of things. And I'm proud of that stuff.
And I do. So I have lots of shits to give.
You don't
about
give
things.
Shits about a lot of things by playing by the rules.
I will rearrange a rule, yes.
There you go.
That is cool. So what was the rest of your comment, Sam?
Oh, I was just wondering what the descriptors are for us then. Right? And I hear, Judy, you're saying that it's something about us following our own path or forging our own path.
So innovators, or like there's other words that we can use that have a positive a positive description and a positive conversation.
I mean, if you were in Silicon Valley, you'd call us disruptors.
Okay. Then I'm fine with that too.
I think disruptors right. That feels right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What about the cynicism? Where did that come from? That the label cynicism.
I think we are cynical. And I'm super cynical, and I don't care. I'm proud of that, too.
Mm-hmm. How are you defining cynical?
In the classical sense.
I think that we are...
Maybe we're sarcastic?
Right, sarcastic.
Well, I'm also sarcastic, but I mean, a lot of people are sarcastic. That's not generational.
I think that we were that transitional part where things were less set in stone for us, so it is interpreted as cynicism because we're going, well, there's no guarantee I'm going to have that job for 20 years. So you just come from a position...
We're in the gig
right,
economy.
we come from a position of, at any given time, my Xbox might die, kind of thing. And so I think that that's, where that description comes from, is that we're not going, we're going to cradle to grave it and having that sense of hope the way those things worked. No, we don't have that.
Would you say that instead of cynical, maybe we were more skeptical?
I'm definitely still skeptical.
I'm
skeptical, but I might be even more cynical than I am skeptical.
What do you think, Sam?
I think that Judy is cynical. Disruptors, labeling ourselves as disruptors and skeptical feels more right to me,
right,
on an emotional level, for sure.
Mm-hmm. And then Judy, you can be you can curate the rest of the things, all the things that they say in those articles. You can be the poster woman for all of those things.
You can disrupt this conversation, Judy.
I think it comes from somewhere, and I think that like when those labels get thrown out by people who are in the other generations, like we just said, we're disruptors. I can see why they say that we're slackers,
right?
Because there's something that we're doing that they're perceiving that as slackerism, but it's really that we're just not playing by those rules. Right. We're doing it a different way, and they're like, "Oh, you're not." Doing this or this or this, but we're doing it a different way. It's still a lot of work.
Right.
Like I'm like, we're doing this show.
Yes.
Which is a lot of work, but
correct.
Some people might think that that's some kind of
you guys are just hanging out with your friends.
Yeah, or something like that.
I'd love to have a weekend lark.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? That's our hard work that we're doing a lot of putting, blood, sweat, and tears into might be someone else's weekend slack. Do you know what I'm saying?
You're right.
It comes from somewhere is what I'm saying. All these things are true, but one person's true might be somebody else's. Why the hell would they say that?
We're just going to get all the thesauruses out. Get the thesauruses out and find another way. I want to replace all of that.
I think it's at the heart of who we are. All those things. I think that they are inherently true, but might just need to be redefined.
Well, speaking of playing by the rules, we did have some people that played by a number of rules that we had when we gave our first giveaway on our social media pages.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we had a great giveaway. We had an opportunity, courtesy of Universal Home Pictures, to give away a copy of The Upside. So congratulations to Jackie. She was the first enthusiastic winner. We do plan on doing additional enthusiastic giveaways. So it's a good opportunity for you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and you can get in on the win somewhere down the road. We're going to have some more prizes as well. We also encourage you to be part of the Enthusiastic Woman family. You can send us an email. It's ibirthsuccess@gmail.com. That's ibirthsuccess@gmail.com. And you can also follow us online to find out what other enthusiastic things we'd love to talk about. So, ladies, I think that we need to go and slack out of the studio. Does that sound like thing?
I'll just go home and slack some more. That's what I do best.
Thank you for slacking with us. Thank you for being enthusiastic with us. Tell yourself, I birth success.